Chance Comanche, shout out to Iowa Leach. Check out my mixtape.
Comanche tweeted that it's a lifelong dream for him to play in the NBA. Chance Comanche did announce today he will turn pro and not return to Arizona.
It's a blessing to just be in this position and given this opportunity. Help this team win a championship. That's always the goal, but taking one day at a time and giving the best I can, give them my all.
Tonight, Chance Comanche appeared in court for the first time.
Former Stockton Kings basketball player just appeared in court for the very first time after being arrested in the strangling death of a woman.
The 27-year-old waived his extradition to Nevada to face.
This is without a doubt one of the darkest stories that I believe I've ever covered. And it's truly sad because the conclusion of it is the loss of life and a person ruining his life. The details are absolutely insane, and this video is most definitely going to get demonetized. So before we get to the content, make sure you drop, like, subscribe, and turn on our notifications to help the channel grow. Now that we get all that out of the way, cue the intro. We made $1,100 off of a $20 entry on Prize Picks. And it wasn't just me, it was everyone that followed these picks on my Instagram story. And the best feeling is the amount of people that made money as a result of this. I mean, bam, bam, bam. Bam! My DMs were flooded, so the best part for me was seeing you guys make money as well. But we're not done yet. Prize Picks has a promo for a free square. All Kevin Durant needs is to score 1 point on Christmas Day, which means we only need to get 1 pick correctly in order to make some more money. If you haven't signed up for Prize Picks, use my promo code microphone to double your deposit up until $100 on Prize Picks. And I give away my picks on a daily basis for free on my Instagram story and now my Snapchat story. We're having so much fun doing this. I'm so happy that I made you guys some money, and thank you Prize Picks for the sponsor. Like check 1212. What's going on, everybody? If you happen to live in the Los Angeles area or around the Beverly Hills area, very close to where I actually grew up, you may have heard of an individual by the name of Chance Comanche, a player that graduated from Beverly High in 2015 and was able to average 20 points, 16 rebounds, and 4 blocks per game as a senior en route to a Southern Section AAA title. Following this, Comanche leveraged his situation to go to U of A, in which he wasn't necessarily featured nearly as much. It seemed like the strategy altered significantly. Even though he played in 60 games for U of A, he only averaged about 4.9 points and 3 rebounds per game. Now, despite this, Chance would declare for the 2017 NBA draft, giving up his final 2 seasons of college eligibility for the prospect of potentially making some money. Unfortunately for him, he wasn't necessarily a sought-after prospect. He was undrafted, and he would do anything he possibly could to make it into the league. He wouldn't get invited to the Summer League, so he would join the Drew League. And following that effort, in order to keep his basketball hopes and dreams alive, he would join the Memphis Hustle's G League team. And for the most part, this would be Chance Comanche's career. He would hop from the Memphis Hustle to the Canton Charge. Eventually, he would try different basketball leagues like the TBL, and he would even play overseas in the Turkish Basketball League. This is the reality for a lot of basketball players that can't make it into the NBA. It's not a bad way to make a living at all whatsoever. There's some individuals that make over 6 figures doing this per year, but this is the storyline of Chance Comanche. He would continue to hop from overseas back to the G League and would even get an opportunity with the Portland Trail Blazers, even playing in an NBA game where he scored 7 points in 21 minutes. And then he would return to where our story takes place, the Stockton Kings. You see, Chance Comanche would sign with the Sacramento Kings, he would get waived, and then he would join the Stockton Kings and would get waived by the Stockton Kings about a week ago. The reason why he got waived by the Stockton Kings was because of a tragedy that took place and a horrific decision that Chance Comanche made that truly makes him a horrific human being. You see, typically these videos would feature me saying these are all allegations, but the thing is, in this particular instance, we get a straight out confession of the horrible thing Chance did. On December 6th, Chance and his ex-girlfriend Sakari Hardenden were accused of ending the life of a young woman by the name of Morena Rogers. This took place when Chance was in the area for team activities, according to Las Vegas police. Now, according to this story, Rogers, who is a 23-year-old from Lakewood, Washington, traveled to Las Vegas on December 1st with a friend with the intent to engage in prostitution. That same night, Harnden began seeking Chance's help after there were reported issues between her and Rogers. Both Rogers and Harnden both worked in this industry in the Las Vegas area, and they reportedly argued over a Rolex as Rogers threatened to smoke Harnden if she didn't give her the watch. And originally, Chance and his ex-girlfriend decided to end Rogers' life because they couldn't find a hitman that was willing to take on this job for $3,000. So yeah, very crazy, very wild, very dark story, and the details in which the story goes in is insane. For example, they discussed several ways to commit the act, which included poisoning, strangulation, and a firearm. And there are very incriminating group messages in this instance as well. For example, Chance Comanche said that I can snap her neck or just strangle her, and he wrote this in a group message. They finally came up with an idea. If you get a nice little thick piece of rope or something sturdy, this can be done from the back seat, kind of like how they do it in the movies. Harnden and Rogers also got into an altercation on December 4th after she allegedly implicated Rogers' boyfriend in a double murder in California, which led to the man's arrest. So apparently Comanche met this woman through a dating app about a year and a half ago, and they broke up after a few months of dating, but they kept in touch following their breakup. So what would end up happening is Rogers would get lured by Comanche and Harnden, who promised her a double date with another man, and she was to meet them at a predetermined location, according to text messages that were released to the public. On December 4th, Comanche had checked into the M Resort and Casino in Henderson, Nevada with the Kings as they were playing a game the next night at the Dollar Loan Center. Following the Kings game, Comanche made his way back to his hotel with the team before he went back outside and got into Harnden's car, and they drove to meet Rogers. So Comanche was there on team business, and he left to go meet with Rogers and Harnden to do the act. So after purchasing alcohol, the trio drove to a cul-de-sac near the former house of Comanche's friend, where they had originally planned to commit the act. Harnden had explained to Rogers that Comanche was the client and was going to pay them for their services, with her also explaining that Comanche was into kinky acts and wanted to tie them both up before they engaged in the acts. Rogers agreed and then began removing her clothes. Harnden removed her clothing as well and climbed over the central console and got on top of Rogers' lap, before adding that Comanche had grabbed a bag of plastic zip ties that were already in the car and handed two to Sakari. Rogers willingly had her wrists tied together before Comanche wrapped a cord around her neck, while Harnden, still straddling Rogers, placed her hands on the defenseless woman's neck. Comanche told police that he used a HDMI cord to choke Rogers for 10 seconds and stopped when he heard the victim struggling to breathe. But Harnden continued. Rogers then became unresponsive. Comanche and Harnden then checked her pulse to determine if she was gone when they saw fluid coming out of Rogers' mouth. The pair then pulled over the side of a road in Henderson, Nevada, and then dumped Rogers' body in a ditch before covering the body with rocks. Comanche even confessed to the police that he used a towel to pick up the rocks to avoid getting his DNA on them, and the accused smashed Rogers' phone and drove back to the team hotel, where they stayed until Comanche left with the team around 8:50 a.m. So this is really recent, and oh my god, this is so gruesome. But Comanche and Harnden remained in contact after the act, with police believing the former king was coaching Harnden through how to talk to law enforcement, saying, "Calmly answer them, they only know what you tell them. You got this, boo. This is the post-game interview. Just smile and wave." That is insanity. I mean, the fact that he's drawing this parallel to like him in a basketball game is crazy to me. It's like, yeah, you know, you already did the act, you know, just this is the post-game interview, just walk the police through and we could get out of this scot-free. Which also gives the idea that Comanche has done crazy stuff like this before, possibly. Now, Comanche would play in another game with the Kings in Portland on December 7th, the day after the incident. Detectives found Rogers' body in the ditch on December 15th after Comanche pointed to the location on a map during his interview. Harnden was arrested on December 13th and charged with felony first-degree kidnapping and felony theft for allegedly stealing a Rolex valued between $5,000 and $25,000. And Comanche was arrested on a first-degree kidnapping charge on December 15th. The Kings confirmed to the Post that Comanche was released from the organization but declined declined further comment. On Monday, a criminal complaint was filed in Las Vegas, court charging both Comanche and Harnden with open murder and conspiracy to commit murder, both felonies, and they both made initial court appearances on Tuesday. This entire situation is mind-boggling to me. I mean, what I'm trying to figure out is why Comanche would get involved in this to begin with. I'm assuming they were planning on getting the Rolex and selling the Rolex and maybe splitting the difference. Maybe that was what he was going for. But if you really think about it, this man literally risked it all for potentially $2,500. This man went out and assisted in ending another woman's life for $2,500. To give you an idea, on average, a G League player makes about $40K a year. Now, if you play overseas, of course, you could pair that and you could boost that number up to maybe 80 to 100K, depending on how good you are. And not that any amount of money would rationalize this type of behavior, but to go through these obstacles, to literally risk the rest of your life, to end another person's life, to give up your career, which is playing basketball for a living, which is a pretty sweet career. I mean, this man has a highlight of blocking Jordan Poole, for crying out loud. And to give all of that up just to potentially make $2,500 is by far one of the stupidest decisions I think I have ever seen a human being make. And this is me just taking the morality aside. There is not a single world where you can rationalize ending this poor woman's life. There is no excuse for ever doing something this despicable. But that's all it took to convince you that this was the right decision for you in your life? $2,500? I mean, this guy is beyond stupid. This is by far one of the most idiotic acts I think I've ever seen a human being do. Obviously, he's probably getting a plea deal here, and that's why he is admitting to everything that went down. But man, I can't even believe that this is something that he entertained to begin with, because it's official. He ruined his life. His life is over, or at the very minimum, severely damaged. I don't see a world where he doesn't get 25 to life. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys think about all this, man? I was getting a lot of requests in my Instagram DMs to cover this. I'd like to hear what you have to say. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike. I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.